All right, welcome everybody to Agent Investor, the only brand that helps real estate agents get off the real estate roller coaster. And today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that comes up about this time every single year. As I'm recording this, it's November 19th, 2024. Every year around this time, maybe towards the beginning of December, agents and investors, they start talking about goal setting. And in fact, the fact that it comes up every single year kind of illustrates how much of a waste of time most goal setting is, right? If you have to redo it like that every single year, man, I have a lot to say on this topic, and I'm going to kind of just jump right into this. So first and foremost, when it comes to goal setting, and I coach hundreds of agents, I've probably coached over 1,000 agents in my career. Coached people when it comes to investing, when it comes to being an agent, when it comes to making money, when it comes to becoming financially free. And I can tell you that every single time that I first meet with an agent, talk to them about investing, talk to them about growing their business, I ask them what their goals are. And you'd be surprised to hear that if I had to put a number on it, 80 to 90% of all agents don't have any goals. They don't have any goals when it comes to selling houses. They don't have any goals when it comes to investing. And when I do hear the goals, in a lot of cases, it's just a very vague goal. Like, new agent signs on with our company. We ask them what the goals are. They say they want to make, air quotation, six figures. Or you talk to somebody who wants to start investing. What do they say in a lot of cases? Well, I want to become financially free. Well, what does that mean, and how do you actually achieve it? So the most important thing you can take away when it comes to goal setting is really what you want the outcome to be on a week-to-week basis. On a week-to-week basis, what the outcome of goal setting needs to be in order for you to achieve your goals is for you to have numbers that you look at on a weekly basis that you check that you're hitting, right? Because if you're hitting your weekly goals, you're going to hit your quarterly goals. If you hit your quarterly goals, you're going to hit your yearly goals. And so I want to talk a little bit about how most people do goal setting, if they even do goal setting at all. Like I said, many people don't even do goal setting at all. But when they typically do goal setting, they do it in a way that drives me absolutely bananas, kind of like a completely abstract way of setting goals. So if you've ever seen anybody do like a vision board, right, towards the beginning of the year, or maybe when they start selling real estate, or maybe when they start investing in real estate, they do this process. It's a very common thing called a vision board. And they go out, they buy a bunch of magazines, and they basically do this like fifth or sixth or seventh grade class project where they cut out a bunch of stuff. They think about their dream life, right? They sit in a room, they think about their dream life. They open these magazines and they start cutting out cars and houses and boats and all these kind of like material objects. And then they, think about vacations, and they put pictures up of their family, and they make this like arts and crafts type thing. And then they put it up on the wall. And, this takes a while, by the way, because there's a lot kind of to this. They put it up in the wall in their office. They put it up somewhere in their house. And all of a sudden, magically, they're somehow supposed to, at some point, hit their goals, right? In reality, 2 months later, 3 months later, that thing that they put up on the wall is no different than the paint on the wall. It just blends in. It means nothing. And more importantly, like I said, the end goal that you want when it comes to setting goals is you need to know every single week, every single day, what you're looking to achieve and have numbers to back it up to make sure that you are doing it. Nowhere in there is a vision board, is a picture of a Lamborghini, is a picture of a vacation house or a nice big house or a picture of a big happy family or whatever you want your dream life to be. The other issue with setting goals, even if it becomes a little bit more advanced, like I said, is that in general, they're reset every single year, right? And there's no tracking, there's no mechanism to see if you're on the right path during the year. And all of a sudden, the end of the year hits and you're like, oh, was I on track or was I not on track? So I'm going to talk a little bit about why the abstract stuff just doesn't work. So let's just say that you do a perfect vision board and you've got it up there and you know exactly what house you want and you know exactly what car you want and you know exactly what you want your day-to-day to look like and you know exactly what freedom is, right? And you put it up on that wall and it's exactly what you want your life to look like. Well, great, that's step one. But what that doesn't actually encompass is what the financials of that are. Like, what do you actually need to make on a monthly basis for that life to happen, right? Because that is step one. Like, I'm knocking, kind of the vision board component of this, but step one when it comes to setting the right proper goals is you have to figure out what you want your life to look like in the future. And obviously, for all of us, that is a little bit different, right? It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be even remotely the same. What we want our life to look like 3 to 5 years into the future. And by the way, you shouldn't be going any further out than that. You want to look far enough into the distance to kind of say, ultimately, how do I want my life to change? How do I want investing and real estate to change my life? And what exactly do I want that life to look like? But more importantly, how much is that going to cost? Right. And again, for everybody, that's going to be a little bit different. The car that you want to drive, the college that you might need to pay for, the trips that you might want to go on, the house that you might want to live in, etc. They all cost a certain amount of money. But yet most of us, when it comes to setting goals, and when I sit with agents, especially newer ones, and they tell me they want to make six figures, well, that's a completely arbitrary number. That, six figures number, whether it's that they want to earn six figures or earn six figures passively, is completely arbitrary, right? And honestly, as we know with inflation, that number has changed. Like, when I got into real estate in 2004, six figures in 2004 is a lot different than six figures in 2024, 20 years later. But yet, ironically, because it's a nice round number, that six figures number, whether it's active income or passive income through rentals, is typically the number that I get, right? So step number one, when you're talking about setting the right goals, is you've got to think out 3 to 5 years into the future. It doesn't exactly have to be that length of time. It could be 4 years. It can be 6 years. It really can't, in my opinion, be a year or 2 years. The reason for that is if you want significant change in your life, which is really why we're setting goals. We have our life today. We might be happy with our life, but we want our life to be better in some way. So we want to know what that way is, what exactly that is that we want to have change. And I'll just give you some examples, from my life when I first started. Like, I wanted, my wife to not have to work, right? That was one thing that I wanted. So what did that mean on a financial basis for me personally? That meant that I had to make up the money that she made as a nurse, right? So what does your ideal life look for you? And I would break it down literally by expenses. Obviously, you can write these expenses down in an Excel spreadsheet. You can do it however you want, but you've got to figure out, how much is my monthly mortgage or rent payment? How much is my food bill? How much is the tuition I need to pay for? How much is my car payment going to be? How much is my vacation going to cost every year, or whatever you're looking to do? So what I would start with is an Excel spreadsheet. And I would dump all of those expenses into an Excel spreadsheet so that you can come up with what is the actual dollar amount cost that your life is going to cost you, and you got to start there. So that number, again, I've had people that have retired on $3,000 to $4,000, $5,000 a month. And I also know people that can't retire that are making $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 a month. So when it comes to goal setting, you don't want to look to the left. You don't want to look to the right. You want to look and you want to say, what do I want my ideal life to look like? And what is it going to cost, right? So then the next thing that you need to do when you actually know that number, and let's just say that number is, $100,000 a year, right? Then you've got to say, what do I need to do to hit that number every year? And how much of that income is going to be active? And how much of that income is going to be passive? In an ideal world, let's say that the number that you need to live off of is $100,000. In an ideal world, we would all ideally rather have $10,000 a month of passive income than have to earn $10,000 a month of active income. And the difference between active and passive income, I think a lot of you who follow me and, listen to our podcast and, are in my inner circle probably know the difference. But active income is things like selling real estate. You get up every day, you're fighting on January 1st every year to hit that $100,000 mark. You're actually actively doing stuff in order to earn it. Whereas passive income is income that is going to come to you pretty much no matter what you do. And when we think about passive income kind of in general, we think a lot of times in terms of either investing our capital into something or owning assets that pay us, right? So you can invest your capital into syndications like the ones that our company provides, or you can buy assets. And just to give you kind of an idea, right? Just a rough kind of idea of what you want to be thinking about when it comes to passive income for numbers. For every rental unit that we own, on average, it cash flows or makes us about $500 per month. So if we have a 4-unit building, on average, we're going to make about $2,000 a month passively. If you're investing your capital into a syndication, again, these rates are going to be, a little bit, all over the map, but you're typically going to expect to earn somewhere between 10 and 20% on your money. Okay. So again, what are we talking about doing here? We're talking about saying, where do I want my life to be 3 to 5 years into the future? Number one. Number two, how much is that going to actually cost? Right. Step number 3 is we've got to figure out how we're actually going to get to that number, whether it's active income, whether it's passive income. And for most people that follow us through Agent Investor, I've got a saying, sales will make you a living, investing will make you wealthy. And I never, ever tell people to stop selling real estate out of the gate. You should be selling real estate. You should be selling real estate to pay your bills, but you should be investing for passive income, right? So what that means is that you've got to both look and say, how do I hit my targets and what is the combination going to be? Depending on who you are and what your goals are looking to be, say that your goal is $100,000 of passive income and $100,000 of active income 5 years from now, you're going to have to kind of work those in combination with each other. You might have a goal to stop selling real estate and just invest in real estate, but year one, obviously you might sell, you might make most of your income from selling houses, and over the course of time, you might start adding assets, and those assets are going to add up so that you don't have to necessarily sell as many houses. All right, so we talked about what is our life, going to look like 3 to 5 years from now? What is the cost going to be? And then on a yearly basis, what do we actually need to happen kind of in the next 12 months in order to hit that goal, right? And that's where it comes into like literally looking and saying, what does my week to week need to look like? And every Tuesday morning, it just so happens it's Tuesday today. Me and my team, we look at our numbers in order to make sure that we're on track. Literally, the software that we use, when we're on track, the number becomes green. When we're not on track, when we're not hitting our numbers, the actual software will turn red. So we have a lot of different metrics that we look at when it comes to building our business. And I'll just give you guys kind of like a couple of examples. But for everybody that's on this call right now, that's going to be a little bit different, right? So I can tell you, for example, that I have a goal of doing 2 partnership deals with agents every single week, right? That's going to get me to 100 partnership deals in the next 12 months. The average partner deal that we do, the net income from that partner deal is 80 grand, which we split 50-50, right? So $40,000 times 100 deals, that's $4 million of revenue, right? And that is baked in to our company goals. That is baked into our 1-year company goal. So legitimately, every single week, I report that number. How many agent partner deals did we sign this week? If the number's 2, we're green. If the number's 1, we're red. If the number's 4, we're green, right? And I look at that every single week. And the reason that looking at your numbers every single week is so important, and it's something that people don't think about when they're setting their goals, is that you need to know if you need to make any changes, right? So, for example, if my goal is to do 2 agent partner deals per week and I do one week after week after week after week, what is that telling me? It's giving me, if I do 4 weeks in a row where I've only done one partner deal, that tells me that I'm doing something wrong. I need to make a change, right? When do I know that? Let's say we're starting this on January 1st. I know by February 1st, 4 weeks in a row that I've not hit my goal, that I know I need to do something else. I know I need to do more, or I need to change how I'm doing something. Not, the title of this is like why most year-end goal setting sessions fail. And they fail typically is because people set kind of like not defined goals. And then all of a sudden it's 10 months later and they haven't even looked to see whether they're on track. They've never looked to see whether they actually need to make any changes as time goes on. Just because you measure your goals every week doesn't mean you're going to hit them. But when you measure your goals every single week and you have a scorecard every single week, you get real life, real time feedback on whether you are doing the right things, right? So when it comes to like changing your business, if you're doing something wrong, and I'm just giving the example of the partnership opportunities because I talk a lot about that. If every single week I come to the table and I report in my software that I've only done one partner deal every single week, that means that I need to do more of something or change something. So what does that tell me? That tells me after I've looked at that number 4 weeks in a row that, okay, well, it makes me think, okay, well, how do I generate partner opportunities? Okay, well, one way is to email agents. Another way is to do live presentations. Another way is to make sure that I'm sending Facebook messages. Another way is to make sure that I'm doing Facebook posts, right? So I have to look and I have to say, what am I doing wrong there? Am I not sending enough emails? Are the emails that I'm sending not effective? Am I not posting enough? Do I have enough friends, right? So we're looking at it. When we are looking at this stuff every single week, we then have to diagnose why we're not achieving, why we're not hitting the result. This is also where a really good coach can come in because, as I'm saying this, it probably sounds logical. It probably sounds simple. Sometimes you don't know what you're doing wrong. Like you may have a goal of going on one seller appointment a week and 3 weeks in a row, you don't hit it, but you don't know why you're not hitting it. That's why having a mentor and having somebody that's done what you want to do is so critical, right? So if you know exactly why you're not hitting your goal, you just need to do it, right? But if you don't know, which is very, very common, then you've got to get a mentor who can easily diagnose this for you, right? And again, very, very important. The mentor has got to have done what you want to do, right? Because you could say, hey, I want to generate one seller appointment a week. And then you talk to the best buyer agent in the land and they would have no idea, right? They could make tons of money, but if they're not doing exactly what you want to do, it's not going to be helpful. So this looking at your numbers every single week is a critical component of hitting your goals. Now I'm talking about why goal setting fails, but we don't really care about setting goals. Yeah, setting goals is great, right? It's a fun exercise, like especially at the end of the year when we're a little bit slower. You get in your office, you grab a cup of coffee, you sit down, you get excited about what the new year can bring. But the purpose isn't to set the goals. The purpose is to hit the goals, which means, again, that we've got to know exactly our metrics on a week-to-week basis that we need to hit. And we need to look at them every single week to know that we're either on track or off track to hit our goals. Okay, I hope this stuff is kind of making some sense. I know I mentioned the partner opportunities that we have, which is something I promote pretty much every single time because, like I mentioned, it is a goal of mine. I want to do 2 new agent partnership deals every single week. For those of you who are not familiar with the agent partnership opportunity, it's really simple. Agents can come across some of these deals by accident, fix and flip opportunities by accident. We give agents the ability to partner with us on fix and flip deals where we put up all the money, we do all of the construction, and then we split the profits 50-50. Why do I do that? Well, I know it's generous. I know a lot of people love the program. Why do I do it? Well, if I do 100 of those deals in a year, That's $4 million more of net revenue to my company. Pretty big deal, right? For those of you who are interested in learning more about how to partner with us, how to find deals, how the partnership program works, go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. On that call, I'm going to talk about the partnership program. It's also a live call. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're like, geez, I want to ask Tom a question about setting goals, question about generating seller leads. It is a live call. We're not just limited to talking about the partnership program. You can ask any question that you want. It's a free call, and I host it every single week. So again, go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com to learn more about partnering with us. All right, getting back to goal setting for a second. So we've talked again. I want to bring it back to kind of the beginning. Okay, why are we setting goals? We're setting goals because we want our life to be better. We want our life to improve, right? So we're looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years into the future to say, what do I want that change to look like? How do I want my life to be better, right? We're always, if you're in the growth mindset, you're always looking to improve. You're always looking to get better. That's a good thing, right? So 2, 3, 4 years into the future, what does it look like? And then second, what does that cost? There's going to be unfortunately, right, or fortunately, whatever you want to call it, there's going to be a cost, right, to improving our life. So we're going to know that we're going to have to make more money. Some of it, maybe we make active. Some of it we make passive, right? So we know exactly, hey, I earn $8,000 a month right now. In 3 years from now, I want to earn $18,000. I want to earn $10,000 of passive income and $8,000 of active income. Great. Now we know the number. Okay, so what do we want that to be in the next 12 months? Well, maybe it's $8,000 of active income and $3,000 of passive income, or maybe you want to increase your active income again, whatever your goals are your goals. But then we've got to say, how do we hit them, right? What numbers do we need to look at on a weekly basis? And then what behaviors or things do we need to do in order to hit them, right? So I'll give you guys just a couple more numbers on my scorecard. And as I say this, I've said this disclaimer, a few times. My goals shouldn't be your goals, okay? But I'm telling you some of my goals just so that you know them, right? So I know we want to do somewhere between 150 and 200 flips in 2025, somewhere in that ballpark, right? So I talked about the fact that, we want to hit 100 partner deals. We want to do 2 per week. So that means we also have to do somewhere around another 100 with how we typically get them, which is generating our own seller appointments. So another metric that I track every single week is how many seller appointments our team went on, right? So I look, every single week, and I say, how many seller appointments do I need in order to hit my goals? So if I want to do, again, 2 deals on my own, that means if I need 20 appointments in order to do that, I need 40 appointments every single week. So we'll track every single week and look at it and say, how many cash offer appointments do we need every single week? And we look at that as a stat. Right. I also have goals. I've got a real estate brokerage with over 400 agents in it. And we look and we set goals for how many agents we want to have in the company. It's not our top priority, but it is a goal that we look at every single week. We want to net about 50 agents in 2025. We want to take it from kind of like the low 400s into the mid 400s. So what does that mean? We need to increase our agent count every single week by on average about 1. And again, why is this important? Like just reporting the numbers. Okay, yeah, that's great. If the numbers are doing what they're supposed to do, that's great. We don't really have to do anything else. But if they're not really, that's the part where this stuff gets screwed up big time. If all of a sudden we've been stagnant, we haven't been recruiting the number of agents we need in a quarter, then we've got to say, what do we need to adjust? Do we need to make more phone calls? Do we need to host more events? Do we need to whatever? Because there's something going on that's wrong. Are we losing agents? Are we losing too many agents? Why are we losing agents, right? So that's where the diagnosis of the problem comes in. And it's just the difference between everything I'm talking about right now is a difference between having a very vague outline of saying, I want my life to be better. That's basically what most people tell me when I say, what are your goals? If I had to summarize and putting in air quotations, they'd say, I want my life to be better. Okay, great. How do you even know if that's happening? How do you know on a weekly basis? How do you know what you're supposed to be doing every day? And most agents who want to invest in real estate that I talk to on a daily basis don't even know what they're supposed to be doing on a daily basis. So if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing on a daily basis, you don't know if you're doing the right things. Maybe you are, but you're probably not, right? You're probably not doing the right things every day to hit your goals, which is why year after year after year, most people set these very vague goals. They don't track them. They don't monitor them. They don't know what they need to do in order to hit them. They don't know what they need to do on a day-to-day basis. And then another year goes by and they kind of do the same thing over and over again. And that's what I want you guys to prevent. Like, I don't want you guys to be doing that. I want you guys to have very clear outline. And it's okay. Look, if you missed your goal, if you knew exactly what you were supposed to be doing every day, if you knew I was supposed to be making 10 phone calls a day, I'm just throwing out a number, and you only hit 8, well, at least you know why you didn't hit the goal. If you want to hit the goal, you got to make 10. But most people aren't even remotely that calculated, and they just go by. And guys, time flies. Like, I'm 42 years old. I have 4 kids. My oldest daughter is going to be 12 in January. I can't freaking believe my daughter is going to be 12. Time goes by super fast. So in order for you to hit your goals, and this stuff, right, can be life-changing. And it doesn't take a million years. Like 3, 4, 5 really good years of calculated time spending, will help you. The other thing about this too is, like, I'm talking about my daughter, being 12. Like, the answer usually isn't to work more hours. Like, if you are working inefficiently, working more hours isn't going to get you there. Like, you need to be effective. You need to know exactly what the 80-20 rule of your time is. And you need to be spending your time that way every single day. And guys, that doesn't mean that it has to be hard, right? It just needs to be focused. It needs to be you working on the right things every single day in order to hit your goals. Because I know if you're listening to this, like, you want to achieve, you want to make your life better. If you weren't, like, I am not interesting enough for you to be listening to otherwise, right? So you guys are listening because you have the desire. Now you just need to make sure you set the right goals and measure them every single week, and make sure that you have a mentor, a coach, somebody who you can ask questions to know whether you're on the right track, whether you're doing the right things. And so I'll just leave with this. I know not everybody who's listening to this is in my inner circle group. That's okay. Even if you're not in my inner circle group, jump on that weekly call once and ask a bunch of questions. Like, I'll help you for free. Jump on that call at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. There is nothing that can be lost by jumping on that call. Like, you jump on that call, you ask me a bunch of questions. Worst case scenario, right? I don't know what I'm talking about and I can't answer any of them, and you only, wasted about a half an hour. Best case scenario, you got, some of the best advice that you can possibly get, and you got it for free. So there's really no reason why everybody shouldn't be able to jump on that call. And I say on every one of those calls, I always tell everybody, be selfish. I stay on those calls until everybody gets what they need. Listen to the partner program, which I'm going to talk about. Listen to the other stuff I have to say. But use that call as a selfish way to get free information, right? That'll cost you nothing. You don't have to be in my inner circle program. You don't have to work for my brokerage, right? Just jump on that call, get some stuff that you need. I'm happy to help people, because guess what? You guys who are listening, my niche group, real estate agents that want to invest in real estate, you guys are going to help me get to those 100 fix and flip partner deals in a year. So selfishly, I need as many agents listening to me as possible. Jump on my call. I'll help you for free. www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com, and stop making the same mistake over and over again when it comes to setting goals, right? Don't do that 5th or 6th grade, presentation or class project where you just cut a bunch of stuff out of a magazine. That's not going to get you where you need to go. So I appreciate you guys, jumping on. And if you need any help,